All I Need Is You. Written by Just Thinking Drabbles. Read by Rashi. When people looked at Dorothea, they saw many things. A confident opera star, a beautiful songstress, a person who was talented and strong, and never seemed to waver even for a moment. Yet, while those things weren't necessarily wrong about her, they weren't exactly correct either. Oftentimes, such compliments came with the assumption that she was always confident, always brave. But she wasn't. She was only human, after all, and she wasn't impervious to fear. Being on stage was no different. Despite the numerous times that she had done it, it never got any easier. As she waited behind the curtain, she found herself clutching tightly to her dress and holding her breath as she stared out at the large crowd before her. Her stomach ached at the thought of performing at the opera once again, but it was obviously too late to turn back now. Of course, she loved singing, but doing so in front of others was entirely different than singing to herself while getting ready in the mornings or while she made tea for her and her friends. A part of her always worried that she might somehow make a mistake and ruin the entire show by making a fool of herself. Perhaps she might misstep and trip over the needlessly long skirt of her gown, or maybe she would miss a note, or forget the words to the song she had tried so hard to memorize. In actuality, these outcomes were unlikely, but she couldn't help to think about the what-ifs. She had a secret for moments like these, though. When her mind became foggy with doubt, and she felt herself getting dizzy, she always turned to the one person she trusted most, her wife, Edelgard. Seeing her lilac gaze staring down at her from her private seat with affection and joy always chased away the dark thoughts that tried to overrun Dorothea's mind. Except, when she peeked through the curtain once again to look for her, she instead found an empty seat where her wife would normally be sitting. Was she not able to attend tonight? It would be understandable if she hadn't been able to come. Being emperor was hard work, and it kept her very busy. But even knowing this, there was a small part of Dorothea that still wished that she could still come. Then, just as she was prepared to walk on stage, she heard her name called from behind her. It was a soft, familiar voice that made her smile instantly when she heard it, and she turned around to see Edelgard holding a large bouquet of red roses. A gasp escaped her lips, and her hand came to her chest, her cheeks flushing, almost as red as the flowers presented before her. There were so many of them that they almost covered her whole face, and Dorothea held back a chuckle at the adorable sight. "Oh, Edie," she said breathlessly, her eyes welling with tears. They had been married for over a year now, and yet she still couldn't get used to receiving such lavish gifts. "I came to wish you luck, and bring you these. Do you like them?" Edelgard asked, somewhat shyly, as her eyes glimmered with anticipation. She brushed aside a lock of white hair that had fallen into her face, before taking the flowers and said, "Like them? I love them. And I love you." Edelgard's smile was wide and bright when she heard the words, and an adorable blush colored her cheeks. "I love you too," she replied, and placed a soft, loving kiss to her lips. Dorothea felt her nerves from mere moments ago melt away as she was encompassed in her warmth and comforting embrace. Having Edie by her side was all that she needed, and she felt like the luckiest woman alive to be her wife.